My parents are not rich. I say this because people sometimes think that everyone goes to private school is rich. But that isn't true with us. Dad is a teacher and mom is a social worker, which means they don't have those kinds of jobs where people make gazillions of dollars. We used to have a car, but we sold it when Jamie started kindergarten at Beecher Prep. We don't live in a big townhouse or in one of those doorman building along the park. We live on the top floor of a five-story walk-up we rent from an old lady named Donna Petra all the way on the other side of Broadway. That's code for the section of North River Heights where people don't want to park their cars. Me and Jamie share a room. I overhear my parents talk about things like, can you do without an air conditioner one more year? Or maybe I can work two jobs this summer. So today at recess, I was hanging out with Julian and Henry and Miles. Julian, who everyone knows is rich, was like, I hate that I have to go back to Paris this Christmas. It's so boring. Dude, but it's like Paris, I said, like an idiot. Believe me, it's so boring, he said. My grandmother lives in this house in the middle of nowhere. It's like an hour away from Paris in this tiny village. I swear to God, nothing happens there. I mean, it's like, wow, there's another fly on the wall. Look, there's a new dog sleeping on the sidewalk. I laughed. Sometimes Julian could be very funny. Though my parents are talking about throwing a big party this year instead of going to Paris. I hope so. What are you doing over break? Said Julian. Just hanging out, I said. You're so lucky, he said. I hope it snows again, I answered. I got this new sled that is so amazing. I was about to tell them about lightning, but Miles started talking first. I got a new sled too, he said. My dad got it from Amateur Schillemer. It's so state of the art. How could a sled be state of the art? Said Julian. It was like $800 or something. Whoa, we should all go sledding and have a race down Skeleton Hill, I said. That hill is so lame, answered Julian. Are you kidding? I said. Some kid broke his neck there. That's why it's called Skeleton Hill. Julian narrowed his eyes and looked at me like I was the biggest moron in the world. It's called the Skeleton Hill because it was an ancient Indian burial ground, he said. Anyway, it should be called Garbage Hill now. It's so freaking junky. Last time I was there, it was so gross, like with soda cans and broken bottles and stuff. He shook his head. I left my old sled there, said Miles. It was the crappiest piece of junk. And someone took it too. Maybe a hobo wanted to go sledding, laughed Julian. Well, did you leave it? I said. By the big rock at the bottom of the hill, and I went back the next day and it was gone. I couldn't believe somebody actually took it. Here's what can we do, said Julian. Next time it snows, my dad could drive us all up to this golf course in Westchester that makes Skeleton Hill look like nothing. Hey Jack, where are you going? I had started to walk away. I've gotta get a book out of my locker. I lied. I just wanted to get away from them fast. I didn't want anyone to know that I was the hobo who had taken the sled. I'm not the greatest student in the world. I know some kids actually like school, but I honestly can't say I do. I honestly can't say I do. I like some parts of school, like PE and computer class, and lunch and recess, but all in all, I'd be fine without school. And the thing I hate the most about school is all the homework we get. It's not enough that we have to sit through class after class and try to stay awake while they fill our heads with all this stuff we will probably never need to know. Like how to figure out the surface area of a cube or what the difference is between kinetic and potential energy. I'm like, who cares? I've never ever heard my parents say the word kinetic in my entire life. I hate science the most out of all my classes. We get so much work, it's not even funny. And the teacher, Miss Robin, is so strict about everything, even the way we write our headings on the top of our papers. I once got 2 points off a homework assignment because I didn't put the date on the top. Crazy stuff. When me and August were still friends, I was doing okay in science because August sat next to me and always let me copy his notes. August has the neatest handwriting of anybody I've ever seen who's a boy. Even his script is neat. Up and down perfectly with really small round loopy letters. But now that we're ex-friends, it's bad because I can't ask him to let me copy his notes anymore. So I was kind of scrambling today, trying to take notes about what Miss Robin was saying. My handwriting is awful. When all of a sudden she started talking about the 5th grade science fair project. How we all had to choose a science project to work on. While she was saying this, I was thinking, we just finished the freaking Egypt project. Now we have to start a whole new thing, and then in my head I was going, oh no, like that kid in Home Alone with his mouth hanging open and his hands on his face. That was the face I was making on the inside. And then I thought of those pictures of melting ghost faces, like faces I've seen somewhere, where the mouths are open wide and they are screaming. And then all of a sudden, this picture flew into my head, this memory. And I knew what Summer had meant by bleeding spring. It's so weird how it all just came to me in this flash. Someone in homeroom had dressed up in a bleeding scream costume on Halloween. I remember seeing him a few desks away from me, and then I remember not seeing him again. Oh man, it was August. All of this hit me in science class. While the teacher was talking, oh man, I'll be talking to Julian about August. I have been talking to Julian about August. Oh man, now I understood. I was so mean. I don't even know why. I'm not even sure what I said, but it was bad. It was only a minute or two. It's just that I knew that Julian and everybody thought I was weird for hanging out with August all the time, and I felt stupid. And I don't know why I said that stuff. I was just going along. I was stupid. I am stupid. Oh God. He was supposed to come in as Boba Fett. I would never have said that stuff in front of Boba Fett. But that was him, that bleeding scream, sitting at the desk looking over at us. The long white mask with the fake squirting blood. The mouth open wide, like the ghoul was crying. That was him. I felt like I was gonna puke. Partners. I didn't hear a word of what Miss Robin was saying after that. Blah blah blah. Science fair project. Blah blah blah. Partners. It was like the way grown-ups talk. in Charlie Brown movies, like someone talking underwater. Then all of a sudden, Miss Robin started pointing to kids around the class. Ryan and Tristan, Maya and Max, Charlotte and Cinnamon, August and Jack. She pointed to us when she said this. Miles and Annis, Julian and Henry, Savannah, and I didn't hear the rest. Huh? I said. The bell rang. So don't forget to get together with your partners to choose a project from the list, guys, said Miss Robin as everyone started taking off. I looked up at August, but he had already put his backpack on and was practically out the door. I must have had a stupid look on my face because Julian came over and said, "Looks like you and your best bud are partners." He was smirking when he said this. I hate him so much right then. "Hello, Earth, Jack Will," he said when I didn't answer him. "Shut up, Julian. I was putting my loose leaf binder away in my backpack and just wanted him away from me. You must be so bummed you got stuck with him," he said. "You should tell Miss Robin you want to switch partners. I bet she'd let you." "No, she wouldn't," I said. "Ask her." "No, I don't want to." "Miss Robin," Julian said, turning around and raising his hand at the same time. Miss Robin was erasing the chalkboard at the front of the room. She turned when she heard her name. "No, Julian," I whispered, screamed. "What is it, boys?" she said impatiently. "Could you switch partners if we wanted to?" said Julian, looking very innocent. "Me and Jack had this science fair project idea we wanted to work on together. Well, I guess we could arrange that," she started to say. "No, it's okay, Miss Robin," I said quickly, heading out the door. "Bye," Julian ran after me. "Why'd you do that?" he said, catching up to me at the stairs. "We could have been partners. You don't have to be friends with that freak if you don't want to be, you know." And that's when I punched him right in the mouth. Detention. Some things you just can't explain. You don't even try. You don't know where to start. All your sentences would jumble up like a giant knot if you opened your mouth. Any words you used would come out wrong. "Jack, this is very, very serious," Mr. Tushman was saying. I was in his office, sitting on a chair across from his desk, and looking at this picture of a pumpkin on the wall behind him. "Kids get expelled from this kind of thing, Jack. I know you're a good kid, and I don't want that to happen, but you have to explain yourself." "This is not like you, Jack," said Mom. She had come from work as soon as they had called her. I could tell she was going back and forth between being really mad and really surprised. "I thought you and Julian were friends," said Mr. Tushman. "We are not friends," I said. My arms were crossed in front of me. "But to punch somebody in the mouth, Jack," said Mom, raising her voice. "I mean, what are you thinking?" She looked at Mr. Tushman. "Honestly, he's never hit anyone before. He's just not like that." "Julian's mouth was bleeding, Jack," said Mr. Tushman. You knocked out a tooth. Did you know that? It was just a baby tooth," I said. "Jack," said Mom, shaking her head. "That's what Nurse Molly said." "You're missing the point," Mom yelled. "I just want to know why," said Mr. Tushman, raising his shoulders. "It'll just make everything worse," I sighed. "Just tell me, Jack." I shrugged, but I didn't say anything. I just couldn't. If I told him that Julian had called August a freak, then he'd go talk to Julian about it. Then Julian would tell him how I had bad-mouthed August too, and everybody would find out about it. "Jack," said Mom. I started to cry. "I'm sorry." Mr. Tushman raised his eyebrows and nodded, but he didn't say anything. Instead, he kind of blew into his hands, like you do when your hands are cold. "Jack," He said, I don't really know what to say here. I mean, you punched the kid. We have rules about that kind of thing, you know? Automatic expulsion. And you're not even trying to explain yourself. I was crying a lot by now. And the second mom put her arms around me, I started to bawl. Let's, said Mr. Tushman, taking his glasses off to clean them. Let's do this, Jack. We're out for winter break as of next week anyway. How about you stay home for the rest of this week, and then after winter break, we'll come back and everything will be fresh and brand new. Clean slate, so to speak. Am I being suspended? I sniffled. Well, he said, shrugging. Technically, yes, but it's only for a couple of days, and I'll tell you what. While you're at home, you take the time to think about what's happened. And if you want to write me a letter explaining what happened, and a letter to Julian apologizing, then we won't even put any of this in your permanent record, okay? You go home and talk about it with your mom and dad, and maybe in the morning you'll figure it all out a bit more. That sounds like a good plan, Mr. Tushman, said Mom, nodding. Thank you. Everything is going to be okay, said Mr. Tushman, walking over to the door, which was closed. I know you're a nice kid, Jack, and I know that sometimes even nice kids do dumb things, right? He opened the door. Thank you for being so understanding, said Mom, shaking his hand at the door. No problem. He leaned over and told her something quietly that I couldn't hear. I know, thank you, said Mom, nodding. So, kiddo, he said to me, putting his hands on my shoulders. Think about what you've done, okay? And have a great holiday. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah. Merry Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa. I wiped my nose with my sleeve and started walking out the door. Say thank you to Mr. Tushman, said Mom, tapping my shoulder. I stopped and turned around, but I couldn't look at him. Thank you, Mr. Tushman, I said. Bye, Jack, he answered. Then I walked out the door. Season's greetings. Weirdly enough, when we got back home and Mom brought in the mail, there were holiday cards from both Julian's family and August's family. Julian's holiday card was a picture of Julian wearing a tie, looking like he was about to go to the opera or something. August's holiday card was of a cute old dog wearing reindeer antlers, a red nose, and red booties. There was a cartoon bubble above the dog's head that read, ho, ho, ho. On the inside of the card it read, to the Will family, peace on earth, love. Nate, Isabel, Olivia, August. Cute card, huh? I said to Mom, who had hardly said a word to me all the way home. I think she honestly just didn't know what to say. That must be their dog, I said. Do you want to tell me what's going on inside your head, Jack? She answered me seriously. I bet you they put a picture of their dog on the card every year, I said. She took the card from my hands and looked at the pictures carefully. Then she raised her eyebrows and her shoulders and gave me back the card. We are very lucky, Jack. There's so much we take for granted. I know. I said I knew what she was talking about without her having to say it. I heard that Julian's mom actually photoshopped August's face out of the class picture when she got it. She gave a copy to a couple of the other moms. That's just awful, said Mom. People are they're not always so great, I know. Is that why you hate Julian? No. And then I told her why I punched Julian, and I told her that August was my ex-friend now. And I told her about Halloween. Letters, emails, Facebook, texts. December 18. Dear Mr. Tushman, I am very sorry for punching Julian. It was very wrong for me to do that. I am writing a letter to him to tell him that too. If it's okay, I would really rather not tell you why I did what I did, because it doesn't really make it right anyway. Also, I'd rather not make Julian get in trouble for having said something he shouldn't have said. Also, I would rather not make Julian get in trouble for having said something he shouldn't have said. December 18. Dear Julian, I am very, very, very sorry for hitting you. It was wrong of me. I hope you're okay. I hope you're okay. I hope your grown-up tooth grows in fast. Mine always do. Mine always do? December 26. Dear Jack, thank you so much for your letter. One thing I've learned after being a middle school director for 20 years. There are almost always more than two sides to every story. Although I don't know the details, I have an inkling about what may have sparkled the confrontation with Julian. While nothing justifies striking another student ever, I also know good friends are sometimes worth defending. This has been a tough year for a lot of students, as the first year of middle school usually is. Keep up the good work and keep being the fine boy we all know you are. To Tushman, John from Melissa. Dear Mr. Tushman, I spoke with Amanda and John Will yesterday, and they expressed their regret at Jack's having punched our son Julian in the mouth. I am writing to let you know that my husband and I support your decision to allow Jack to return to Beechercraft after a 2-day suspension. Although I think hitting a child would be valid grounds for expulsion in other schools, I agree such extreme measures aren't warranted here. We have known the Will family since our boys were in kindergarten, and are confident that every measure will be taken to ensure this doesn't happen again. To that end, I wonder if Jack's unexpectedly violent behavior might have been a result of too much pressure being placed on his young shoulders. I'm speaking specifically of the new child with special needs who both Jack and Julian were asked to befriend. In retrospect, and having now seen the child in question at various school functions and in the class pictures, I think it may have been too much to ask of our children to be able to process all that. Certainly, when Julian mentioned he was having a hard time befriending the boy, we told him he was off the hook in that regard. We think the transition to middle school is hard enough without having to place greater burdens or hardships on these young, impressionable minds. I should also mention that as a member of the school board, I was a little disturbed that more consideration was not given during these children's application process to the fact that Beecher Prep is not an inclusion school. There are many parents, myself included, who question the decision to let this child into our school at all. At the very least, I am somewhat troubled that this child was not held the same stringent stringent application standards. Example interview that the rest of the incoming middle school students were. Dear Mrs. Albans, thanks for your email outlining your concerns. Were I not convinced that Jack Will is extremely sorry for his action? And were I not confident that he would not repeat those actions, rest assured that I would not be allowing him back to beecher prep. As for your other concerns regarding our new student August, please note that he does not have special needs. He is neither disabled, handicapped, nor developmentally delayed in any way, so there was no reason to assume anyone would take issue with his admittance to beecher prep, whether it is an inclusion school or not. In terms of the application process, the admissions director and I both felt it within our right to hold the interview off-site at August's home for reasons that are obvious. We felt that this slight break in protocol was warranted, but in no way prejudicial, in one way or another, to the application review. August is an extremely good student and has secured the friendship of some truly exceptional young people, including Jack Will. At the beginning of the school year, when I enlisted certain children to be a welcoming committee to August, I did so as a way of easing his transition into a school environment. I didn't think asking these children to be especially kind to a new student would place any extra burdens or hardships on them. In fact, I thought it would teach them a thing or two about empathy and friendship and loyalty. As it turns out, Jack Will didn't need to learn any of these virtues. He already had them in abundance. Thank you again for being in touch. Hi, Melissa. John Will. Thank you for being so understanding about this incident with Jack. He is, as you know, extremely sorry for his actions. I hope you do accept our offer to pay Julian's dental bills. We are very touched by your concern regarding Jack's friendship with August. Please know we have asked Jack if he felt any undue pressure about any of this, and the answer was a resolute no. He enjoys August's company and feels like he has made a good friend. Hope you have a happy new year. Hope you have a happy new year, John and Amanda Will. Hi, August. Jack Love Will wants to be friends with you on Facebook. Jack Love Will. Augie Doggy Pullman. Sorry. Hey, August. It's me, Jack Will. I noticed I'm not on your friends list anymore. Hope you friend me again, cause I'm really sorry. I just wanted to say that. Sorry, I know why you're mad at me now. I'm sorry, I didn't mean the stuff I said. I was so stupid. I hope you can forgive me. Hope we can be friends again. Jack. From August. Got your message. You know why I'm mad at you now? Did Summer tell you? She told me bleeding scream as hint, but didn't get it at first. Then I remember seeing bleeding scream in homeroom on Halloween. Didn't know it was you. Thought you were coming as Boba Fett. I changed my mind at the last minute. Did you really punch Julian? Yeah, I punched him, knocked out a tooth in the back, a baby tooth. She told me bleeding scream as hint, but didn't get it at first. Then I remember seeing bleeding scream in homeroom on Halloween. Didn't know it was you. It was you. Thought you were coming as Boba Fett. Why'd you punch him? I don't know. Liar. I bet he said something about me, right? He's a jerk. But I was a jerk too. Really sorry for what I said, dude, okay? Can we be friends again? Okay. Awesome. But tell me the truth, okay? Why'd you really wanna kill? Would you? Would you really wanna kill yourself if you were me? No, I swear on my life. But dude, I wanna kill myself if I were Julian. Yeah, dude, we're friends again. Despite what Mr. Tushman said, there was no clean slate when I went back to school in January. In fact, things were totally weird from the second I got to my locker in the morning. I'm next to Amos, who's always been a pretty straight-up kid. And I was like, yo, what's up? And he basically just nodded a half hello and closed his locker door and left. I was like, okay, that was bizarre. And then I said, hey, what's up to Henry, who didn't even bother, half smiling, but just looked away. Okay, so something's up. Dissed by 2 people in less than 5 minutes. Not that anyone's counting. I thought I'll try one more time with Tristan, and boom, same thing. He actually looked nervous, like he was afraid of talking to me. I've got a form of the plague now, is what I thought. This is Julian's payback. And that's pretty much how it went all morning. Nobody talked to me. No, not true. The girls were totally normal with me. And August talked to me, of course. And actually, I have to say, both Maxie said hello, which made me feel kind of bad for never ever hanging out with them in the 5 years I've been in their class. I hoped lunch would be better, but it wasn't. I sat down at my usual table with Luca and Isha. I guess I thought since they weren't in the super popular group, but were kind of middle of the road jock kids, that I would be safe with them. But they barely nodded, and when I said hello, then